we got to talk about another story that has changed the landscape of the NBA. Oh my God. Cooper Flagg is the Dallas Maverick. When you thought that Nico Harrison would pay the blood debt he pays to the universe for making the worst decision a GM has maybe ever made in the history of the NBA, karmic debt did him well. The universe said, we got you, Nico. They're being too mean to you. And they gave this motherfucker Cooper Flagg, the number 1 pick. They had 1.8% chance of landing this pick in the lottery, and it goddamn happened. Oh my God. How are y'all feeling for the Dallas Mavericks fans, for the organization, for Nico Harrison, for Cooper Flagg? How do we feel about this for him from his perspective? Give me all your thoughts.
The sensible person in me says, listen, a 1.8% chance is still a chance, right? Why have a lottery if people at the bottom can't win? This is the whole point of having a lottery. The other side of me says, Adam Silver, shout out to you. You put on your David Stern hat, you read this whole thing, and you got it popping, right? You understood, you needed views, right? Everyone's been talking about ratings. You said, I know what to do. Let's get the 25, 26-year-old superstar, get him into the biggest market in the league. And you know what? If you do that, guess what? Another white star for you. I got you. The amount, it's very, very hard for me to be like, yeah, like the league is rigging it, da-da-da. But when stuff like this happens, you just got to be like, hey, man, maybe they're right. Maybe they're onto something.
Yeah, I don't believe it's rigged. But I cannot argue with you. If you want to say it is and you want to go that route, go for it. It's more fun for me to let you have it. I don't want to be like,
you got it, man.
It's so hard to argue that it is not rigged, bro. How the hell do you, again, do one of the biggest sins in the history of basketball, probably the biggest, in trading away someone like Luka Doncic after you're freshly off of your first finals trip since like 2011, and you're rewarded with one of the best white prospects of all time.
What the fuck?
And you're given, and you're allowed to go ahead and follow through.
Triple white.
You're allowed to follow through with the history of what your organization basically stands on, bro. He is not only a seamless fit on any basketball team or whatever the case may be, but especially on this team too. Like, he is what exactly someone like Nico Harrison would salivate over. Yeah. You can't tell me that there was no dirty work behind the scenes. And I'm a fan of it because at the end of the day, this is what everybody says. The game is not only about a bucket, it's about $1. It's about $1.
See, here's the thing. You guys want to jokingly say it's rigged, play it, whatever.
I'm dead serious. It's rigged.
I don't care. The thing is,
I'll lay out the case
fair enough, but wait,
specifically for this one.
First, I get it. Go for it. It's fun to talk about it in that way. It absolves Nico Harrison of blame to be like, listen, man, that was the plan. The league said we got to get Luka to LA and they'll reward you. Nico always knew it was calculated. Mm-hmm. No, this motherfucker's an idiot. And he got insanely lucky. Yeah. Nobody's ever gotten this lucky in their life to make up for the worst decision ever, to put yourself back on track after you fought valiantly to be off the track.
That motherfucker made a deal with the devil. I don't give a damn, bro.
And he lost on both the fronts. He got nothing out of that relationship. The devil ran through him. The devil ran train on Nico Harrison.
He ran off on his ass.
And yes, he got rewarded and bailed out. So you can call it rigged. I call it a lucky motherfucker getting lucky. It is so much worse when you frame it that way, that this wasn't some higher power saying we got you. It was the universe bailing this idiot out.
There was reporting today that said the Mavericks are taking Cooper Flagg and they are not entertaining any trade for the number 1 pick. Nico made it very, very clear. I'm not that dumb. I'm taking Cooper. The naive people who say that the league is not rigged will tell you that 8 of the last 11 lotteries have been won by teams with the highest odds. However, since 2018, I believe,
when they changed the lottery odds.
Yes, when they flattened the lottery odds. Because before that, the worst team had a 25% chance of getting the top pick, and then
that's a meaningful difference. No, what it is really now. People don't realize that's a big difference.
Yeah. It's over a 10% difference. Yeah, and so now the top 3 teams have a 14% chance. The last 3 times, right? It was like a team with a 14% chance got it. But before this year and before the Hawks, the last 3 times did it. And then before that, it was the Pelicans who rose up and got there.
Yes, and guess what? Ironically enough, the Pelicans that year were dead last in revenue.
They were.
Dead last in revenue,
They were. And I'm glad you said that. This is what I'm talking about, keeping your third eye open. Now, again, that's what the naive people will tell you. It's like, listen, the top people still get it. However, by flattening the odds, you can make it more deceitful to slide people up and down, right?
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying.
Exactly. If I'm a cheater, hey man, I ain't gonna lie. Back in my entire college tenure, I cheated like a motherfucker. A+ is straight on everything.
I told you that.
But I could not cheat consistently.
I told you.
I could not cheat consistently though.
We know.
Did he just try to diamond test my degree? What the fuck?
I told you.
We can address that later. But in general, the best cheaters in the world don't get straight
College
A+ on everything. You get like an 89, 88, maybe a 78 here and there. But for the most part, you're going to make sure you do what needs to get done.
Yeah. Well, we can talk a lot about the state of the lottery after this conversation because it's actually quite interesting. That is this flattened lottery odds even good? Do we like the conceptually? But we got to talk about the fact that the Dallas Mavericks entire just like
These
the runway of
lives
what they
just
can
changed.
do, the runway of what they
did.
can do as a franchise is completely different than it was yesterday. Like they hoped they'd get lottery luck, right? They obviously knew they had a good pick and was hoping it can be high. Maybe we can inject Dylan Harper into this, inject VJ Edgecombe into this. Who knows? We'll see. Maybe we'll get lucky. I can't imagine they ever dreamed of getting this goddamn lucky. This changes everything. Their whole thing with trading Luka, we want to win now. We want to win now with defense, veterans. We have two 33-year-old stars. We're riding with them for however long the window is. And obviously that window got fucking shattered by Kyrie Irving's injury. Mm-hmm. Now it's incredibly complicated because you still got the healthy 33-year-old star. You have the other one that will come back probably towards the playoffs. And you have a young, probably star. We all think Cooper Flagg will be a goddamn superstar who is an amazing defender, does fit this ethos, but he's goddamn the youngest player in the draft almost. He's 18 years old. How does that fit this timeline? Do they change that idea? Do they get sensible? Do they trade Anthony Davis and just say we're building around Coop?
No,
probably not.
No, it makes sense because again, you know that he's ready made, and like obviously there's always a learning curve with young players and their defense, but he, if nothing else, right? Any and all questions about Cooper Flagg have been on the offensive side of the ball. And it's not even like, is he going to be a good offensive player? Yeah. It really is he going to be 30 points or like
what version of a great player is he going to be?
Yeah, that's the only question. The floor that everyone is basically at consensus at is that worst case scenario, it's going to be like a Kevin Garnett situation where he's going to score like 22, 23 points per game. And he's going to be one of the most impactful defenders in the league. That is amazing. And so to add his defense with Anthony Davis, with Derek Lively, with everything that they're doing, his offense, whatever level you think at, it's going to be.
He take his time.
It fits.
Exactly. Yeah. And I view this similarly how the Boston Celtics initially, when they signed Kyrie Irving and whatnot, and they still had a super young Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Tatum had the ability to take his time and wasn't rushed into any stardom. Now, obviously, the whole thing was convoluted, and they just like the whole recipe was fucked because of the Kyrie thing. But looking back at this now, this feels like more of a reformed version of what Boston did back in the day in terms of NBA, in terms of hierarchy. And now Cooper Flagg is given all the time in the world still behind not only one superstar, but two superstars in AD and Kyrie Irving to like slowly ingratiate himself into being that guy.
It's a little bit more of a muddy version of that, I think, so instead of the other way around, because that team kept a ridiculous amount of future first round picks and had all their own picks when they added Kyrie. So they had Tatum, Brown, Smart, Kyrie, and Gordon Hayward, now Horford. They did the two timelines thing at once, while also having all the assets in the world to continue to go down either path they wanted. This team is like fully all in. No young core, no future picks of that matter. I think they have a little bit.
It's Max Christie, and that's it for like young core.
And their pick situation is muddy at best. And now you inject Cooper Flagg into that. So it's kind of the opposite, I think. It's a little bit muddy that you can, one, try to fit Cooper Flagg into this current timeline and just say, we'll win around the current stars we have, take it from wherever it goes after these 2 years. We'll take that when the time comes. But you can do that. I guess they could win a chip if Kyrie comes back 100%. They'd be in the mix. They'd be a fucking fantastic team. But you do have Cooper Flagg, and as soon as you get a talent of that level, you're immediately responsible for taking the entirety of their career into account and planning for the future. So you don't enter a point where they turn 26 and you got goddamn nothing. You got to move them. In 5 years, he'll be 24, entering his prime. Anthony Davis will be 38. Kyrie will be 38. Those motherfuckers will be retiring. What will they have in that time? Because they can't spend these 5 years gaining a young core. They won't be able to have their picks to like slowly build it with high picks. A lot of those picks are gone or pick swapped. So they have to really, really be nimble in how they decide to take this into account. Because you got to try to obviously win now because that's where your roster is. But you got to keep some eye to the future.
Yeah, but I honestly think that I kind of think it's a little bit overblown because I think Cooper Flagg is he's in a great position. Mm-hmm. We've seen Kyrie be able to play off ball, right? Like we've seen him be able to do that. We know that Anthony Davis can be very dominant offensively, but he is not dump the ball into AD or give AD the ball at the top of the key. He's going to go get 30 every single night in that way, right? Obviously, he can score 30. He can average 27, but, being like primary creator number one, that's not him. I think that having 2 years, let's just say 2 years of building up Cooper Flagg, whatever this window is, having him in a team that has championship expectations and championship level stars in Kyrie and Anthony Davis, that's just as important in terms of the intangibles, work ethic, all that stuff. How many times do we see insane talents go to dumpsters like Charlotte and like Washington, and their careers don't pan out anything? I think the fact that you can give him a really good foundation, and in 2 years, whenever Kyrie Irving is aging as he is right now, whenever Anthony Davis continues to age, now you're in a spot where Cooper Flagg, you have grown with these two guys here. You know how they play, and now your on-ball chops can continue to grow. And by that point, oh no, he's going to be 20 years old. Like he's still going to be so young to where everything can still happen in Dallas for him.
Yeah, I get that's great in theory, but let's say those guys are going to be on the way out. You're not going to be able to like trade them and reload around Cooper Flagg. It's going to be, you got to replace these guys in free agency. You got to have young pieces that develop to take their spots. Maybe Derek Lively's that. Maybe they get other good hits. You never know, but it's not a given. So I'm not. No, it's a great thing they got Cooper Flagg. It's fantastic in their win now mode. It's still a great thing. They're even better now, but it is a complicated situation that they have to navigate with some tact.
I don't even think it's that complicated, to be honest with you. I feel like it's like the most straightforward situation ever.
Trade AD?
It's like, okay, like you have your guy, you have the guy, you have an old-ish supporting cast around you, but also going forward too, yes, like they don't have full control of their picks, but they have picks available to their display. All that means that, you have to be really on your P's and Q's when it comes to evaluating these young players. Their pick cycle restarts completely in like 2031, but going on forward, they don't have control of their future picks. They have picks, but it's not their own pick. They're at the knees of OKC and a bunch of other
and the Hornets teams. From the PJ Washington trade. They got to swap for them.
Yes, exactly.
2028.
Honestly, right now, if I'm them in the future, you have to be, you're right, super nimble on your feet. And if you have to eventually, I don't know, I'm not saying you should do this, but if Derek Lively has to be traded for the sake of maximizing someone like Cooper Flagg and what he does offensively, do that. Same thing for PJ Tucker. Do that and accumulate more assets and just make smart moves before they like you shit yourself all over the floor.
It's also my bad. It's also just where the league is right now. I'm at this point, I don't think I'm ever really worried about like, are they going to be able to retool? Some star gets upset. There's always going to be there's going to be an all-star caliber, whether it be low level, high level, right?
That wants to play with it one day. Yeah.
You are going to be able to trade for a player like that in any given time. And by the time Cooper Flagg is ready to be top dog number one, there's going to be somebody there for the trading. Yeah.
Sometimes though, we see teams like the Anthony Davis Pelicans who were drafted in no young core, but they're too good right away. Like Luka, they tried the KP things. Their one swing at their picks didn't work. If Kyrie didn't torpedo his trade value, it would have been kind of tough to get a championship core around Luka.
But he did. There's people who do that all the time.
People always refuse to get a go shot.
Shit happens, bro.
It happens every 4 years. There's always a superstar who doesn't say things. The media gets traded for nothing. I mean, there might be.
But things always tank itself. Like the Kevin, like with the Kevin Durant thing in Phoenix, like who the fuck saw that happen?
KD, Devin Booker,
Giannis now. Like
those motherfuckers are gonna get traded for a lot.
D-Mitch,
those guys aren't cheap.
De'Aaron Fox, like that's what I'm saying. Even guys on that level, you can go out and find somebody that's right there. That's what the 27th best player in the league and create some type of a duo. There's going to be a window, and so. My honestly biggest thing that I'm very curious to see is how the Mavs fans react to this franchise over the next year and a half.
Yeah,
because you obviously like you traded Luka, you were so out there bringing coffins to the stadium. We're so done. Everyone, the death threats and Nico Harrison, all that. You have Cooper Flagg right here. The team is gonna be pretty solid next year. Yeah, they'll be fine. They'll be in the playoff mix, whatever. Are they going to embrace Cooper Flagg? Are they going to embrace the Mavs?
Yes, 100% they will. Now they can stop pretending to be Lakers fans because they're going to get a new great white hope to latch onto. This is the best thing ever for Mavericks fans. They get to be saved from their personal eternal hell that they were going to be in for the next 5 years, rooting for a team that obviously can't win. Now they can latch on to a new young star. This will save the fan base, I think. Like, this is like...
Now, when the Lakers come into town and Luka gets Cooper on the switch.
Bro, I don't think you understand.
Who are they rooting for?
They're going to say fuck Luka so fast once they see Cooper take shape and look like a future star. Fans are fickle. They will move on. So Cooper's that level of player. If this was like a different tier below, like I'd be like, maybe it's, we'll see.
Like if they got to pick number 2, it's different, bro.
Cooper is Cooper. He's going to be a star. It's going to be, that's going to be different.